How's it going, guys? I have been wanting to do this video for weeks, if not months. The upside of being homebound is that I get to create a ton of content. I get this question a lot as a holistic nutritionist: what is the best smoothie for me to have? That answer is it's multifactorial. There's so many things that play into why somebody would incorporate certain vegetables or fibers or proteins than others, but this is what I make for myself every single day, and with slight variations depending on what my cravings are. I absolutely love this smoothie because it is really nutrient dense. So, if you're thinking about smoothies as like those really quick to go smoothies that you might get from some takeout places where it's a bunch of strawberries and mango and banana, it is not that kind of smoothie. As a holistic nutritionist, I am dedicated to giving myself nutrition and recommending to my clients really beautiful whole food nutrition based smoothies and meals so that we are getting all of the nutrition, the macro and micronutrients that our bodies need in order to function properly, to detox, to digest, to form hormones, fuel the brain, really help us just be our best every single day. When I'm talking about macro and micronutrients, what I'm referring to are macros are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, as well as fiber. So fiber usually goes in that category of carbohydrates. Micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals. We want lots of vitamins. We want vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A, all of these beautiful things that help us to support our immune system and our hormone function and enzymatic function. And then we also want our micronutrients, our minerals. So minerals are things like magnesium and calcium. When we think about the role that those minerals play, they really help with muscle function. So if you're active and you're working out every day, we really do need to have some beautiful minerals and electrolytes in our diet and in our water every single day to fuel muscle function, to calm and nourish the nervous system. When we think about the nervous system as what controls everything in the body, we are pretty much all micronutrient deficient. That's really because we live in a world where we're not getting mineralized water that's flowing through rocks every day that is delivering those beautiful micronutrients to us and our guts and bodies. And also our soil quality these days, it's not great. So we used to have, beautiful enzymes and minerals in the soil and in our food, and we're just coming a really long way away from that, especially if we're not eating an organic and local diet. I love this smoothie because it has so many gorgeous vegetables that they do a lot for the body, and they don't have that really strong, pungent vegetable flavor. And then I hide it with some really gorgeous low glycemic fruits, a beautiful sugar-free plant-based protein powder. So let's get to it. Let me show you how I make it. I always make 2 smoothies in the morning, and I have one first thing when I wake up, and then I'll have one mid-afternoon when I'm like wrapping up clients and I'm pretty hungry. There's been a lot of brain power output, and I need something to tie me over until I eat dinner. Those 2 smoothies, I just, it's so beautiful in the morning to wake up and have something that is pretty much totally pre-digested for you to give your gut a little bit less work. When you wake up and you have a really heavy meal, the gut has just been detoxing, healing overnight as you've been fasting, and when you wake up and give it like a huge amount of work to do, like bagels and breads and potatoes, even, eggs, like proteins are very difficult to break down. They're very tightly bound and wound, intricate molecule. Eggs and such, it's okay. I just personally, given my history with gut infections and also specializing in gut infections as an RHN, I always advocate for people to just ease your digestion in. Something smooth and pre-digested, some beautiful warm lemon water in the morning. These are the things, the practices that I equate to, self-love. Greens being the base of this smoothie is really exciting. There are so many different types of greens that are anti-inflammatory. And when I say anti-inflammatory, that can mean so many different things for so many different people. But what I find as a gut health specialist is that low FODMAP vegetables tend to be the best tolerated across the board. When we're looking at spinach and collard greens and kale and arugula, there are so many different kinds of greens that are packed with vitamins and minerals. and they won't mount an immune response. They won't cause inflammation in the gut. That's not a hard, fast rule. Some people are intolerant to kale because of different reasons. It's not related to FODMAPs. That could be a day-long conversation, so I'm just gonna keep it at greens. Leafy greens as a whole generally are really well tolerated. The ones that I'm using today are baby kale, and I go through so much greens because I do 3 cups per smoothie. I'm gonna do about 1.5 cups of baby kale. And then just to balance out the flavors, because kale has this kind of like, I don't want to say bitter, but it has a slightly more pungent flavor. Spinach doesn't. If you see yellow or wilting vegetables, I always say just toss them, because the oxidation process has gotten to a point where the nutrition value isn't really amazing. I toss those in my garbage bowl. What I do to help the planet out is I just have one garbage bowl, and I keep this off to the side as I'm cooking, and I pack it full of all of the waste products. And then when it's full, I just go put it in the green bin instead of using plastic bags every single time. I also do that for my recycling. I just have like a big bin underneath my sink. When it fills up, I just pour it right into the recycling bin. I don't use plastic bags. It saves money and it saves the planet. We really do have to find ways to reduce our plastic use, I think, these days. On that note, using plastic, I am putting another 1.5 cups of spinach in here. So for all you vegans and vegetarians, you already know that spinach is really rich in iron, rich in vitamins and minerals. It's so beautiful, lots of fiber. Fiber is great just to help to bind to and move debris, excess bacteria, toxins out of the gut through your poop. You want lots of good green vegetables. Because I'm making 2 at once, I'm gonna put more. So another 1.5 cups, brain fart. Another 1.5 cups, I might as well just throw this all in there. This is like on its last day, so I'm just gonna put the whole 3 cups of the baby kale and toss this in my bin. Okay, so next, I absolutely love zucchini. Zucchini is really mild flavored squash. It is also low FODMAP. It's rich in fiber and it's low glycemic. So even though it's in the squash family, it's not gonna mount a huge blood sugar response or insulin response. That's amazing for people who have gut infections because our blood sugar tends to be quite dysregulated. The more nutrition that's in food, it really helps to slow it down. So if you're thinking about, white processed sugar, they've removed all of the nutrition out of that. So it's just straight sugar. But when you look at like a honey or a maple syrup, it has a lower GI glycemic response than pure white sugar because there are beautiful vitamins and minerals in the honey and the maple syrup. So I put 1/4 of a zucchini in there. I'm gonna put another 1/4. I sometimes just start chopping up zucchinis and forget that I have like half ones already in there. This one is a little bit, it looks like it's got a bit of the edges going. If you suffer from chronic gut infections or you've had gut infections in the past, I really think it's important to cut off or discard any food that looks like it might be moldy or starting to become moldy. Mycotoxins, if your liver is already dealing with a lot of stress from current infections, or traumas, if your vagus nerve is not functioning properly, you're suffering from severe constipation or chronic loose stool. Be mindful of how you're storing your food and how you are prepping it, because you really want to make sure that there are no mycotoxins on the food so that you're keeping your gut safe from mold toxicity. If you want, I could do a video on percentages of genetic predispositions to mold toxicity and mold infection called CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome. It's fascinating. But since we're talking smoothies, let's talk about insoluble fibers. So I love celery. It is also low FODMAP, pretty well tolerated by the gut for many. It's just got a really light, beautiful, fresh flavor. It's insoluble fiber, meaning it really helps as like a broom just to sweep the gut free. So I'm gonna put a couple of stalks in there. I always have celery in the fridge for smoothies and soups. This one's on its last legs, so I'm glad I'm using it up. Avocados. I tend to eat like 1 to 1.5 full avocados in a day. This is not low FODMAP. If you are looking for a strict low FODMAP diet, you can do one of 2 things. You can omit it completely and replace it with a low FODMAP nut butter, or you could just look at what the values are for the low FODMAP range of tolerated amounts of avocado. Monash University, they've done a great job at studying different foods and how people with chronic IBS can tolerate them. Avocado, I think it's like per day you might be able to get a quarter of an avocado in. And it's nice because, you know, fats are essential to build hormones and to fuel the brain and to protect each cell. Every single cell in our body is surrounded by lipids, and that allows vitamins and nutrition to come into the cell to support the mitochondria, and then it also helps to get toxins out of the cell, so cellular detoxification. So we want whole food fats. We don't want trans fats. The deep fried wings and fries and potato chips, it's fine to have them once in a while, in my opinion, but we really want to shy away from having a high fat diet in that regard. We want more monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, omega-3s, olive oil, avocado, olives, nuts, and seeds. Just look for, if you're suffering from chronic gut health issues, look for the ones that are low FODMAP. Now let's get to the fibers. So my favorite are hemp seeds. There are flax seeds and chia. There's so many different kinds of beautiful fibers. Now, many of them tend to be not very well tolerated by the gut. Hemp seeds are, and I love hemp milk. I love using hemp seeds in a grain-free granola, and I love them in my smoothies and soups. I just do this like I eyeball it. I love this brand, Organic Traditions. Basically, I'm looking for like 1 to 2 teaspoons of fiber. Don't go overboard on fiber. It can really cause a lot of gut disruption. Intolerance to fiber is often a sign of a SIBO infection, which is the type of infection that I specialize in my practice. SIBO infections are small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. If you find that you don't tolerate chia or flax very well, or psyllium's tough on a good day, try hemp seeds. And then I'm using cinnamon. I like Simply Organic. Cinnamon is beautiful at balancing your blood sugar. So again, just another beautiful trick to add some flavor, but also support blood sugar regulation. I do like 5 taps. Blueberries are actually keto approved. That's amazing because they pack a ton of flavor, a ton of antioxidants. They're high in fiber. There's a lot of beautiful little tiny seeds in there. They're low FODMAP, so they tend to be easier to digest, easier to move through the day without symptoms. And they're so delicious. They're so good. So normally I get organic blueberries, but given what's happening with COVID, I'm finding it really hard to find them here in the beach when I do my grocery shopping. I eyeball this, but if you're looking for measurements, I would say about, you can check my blog. I'm gonna write a blog and post the link below. But I would say about 1/4 to 1/2 cup. I'm gonna do more like 1/2 cup for these two, because I like my smoothies a little bit more on the like thicker, a little bit on the sweeter side. Where I can get the sweetness from, I'll take it. Next, I am using Progressive. I believe this is a Toronto brand. I'm using the Harmonized Vegan Protein. 1 scoop of this brand is 25 grams of protein, which is a good amount to be aiming for per meal. So I'm gonna put 2 of these in. I love the flavor. There's no sugar in this. It's got a ton of enzymes. Oh, it's so good. It's got dulse in it, which is an algae. It's got spirulina and kelp, dandelion root, which is amazing at supporting the liver. Bitter gourd, which is great for digestion. It will help to stimulate your bile production, which is amazing for detoxification. Many of us are struggling being able to produce bile. We have organic sprouted brown rice, alpha-lipoic acid, which is great for weight loss, yellow pea protein, hemp seeds. Oh, gorgeous. I buy this guy, but I also am about to start using another brand called Good Stuff by Viome, another Toronto-based company. Tons of enzymes, it's got probiotics, it's got beautiful plant-based algaes. All algae is plant-based, and then plant-based proteins. And I'm actually teaming up with them soon. We're gonna be doing a lot of work with each other in hopes to raise awareness around getting whole food nutrition in kids' bellies who are in underprivileged communities and neighborhoods. And they donate 3% of the profits to New Leaf Yoga Foundation, which I love because they rehabilitate prisoners, at-risk youth, kids. So helping them have access to mindfulness and yoga, I believe everybody deserves the ability to rehabilitate and to find calm and peace in their bodies and minds and lives. I'm gonna be switching when I get on that Good Stuff protein. This is a ton of nutrition. My whole thing, it's 12 cups. No, it's 8 cups. So now I'm gonna work on my liquids. Okay, so just before COVID started, I was about to get my PureCan water filtration system installed in my house, and then bam, COVID came. He hasn't been able to come install that beautiful water filtration system that remineralizes and detoxes hormones and drugs, both pharmaceutical and recreational, from the city water, and then remineralizes it. When that comes, I'm going to be using it to wash my vegetables and fruits, to cook anything. If I'm boiling any vegetables or steaming anything, I want that beautiful, pure water. I don't want to ruin my foods with water, you know? So right now I'm kind of using water. Brita's okay because it helps to detox the heavy metals found in tap water. I do 750 milliliter glasses here, and I fill it just up to the bottom of the Bernardin sign. If you're not using mason jars, I would say it's about 300 to 400 milliliters of water. Maybe less, I don't know, I'm just guessing. And then I'm using an unsweetened cashew nut milk. Sometimes I make my own nut milk. You can check out the video where I made a gorgeous walnut milk, but sometimes I just don't have time and I just buy cartons. I top it up to just about, I don't know, another 100 milliliters, let's say. Okay, so now we're ready to dump it in. Okay, so here we go. We have our perfectly sweetened, creamy, thick, nutrient-dense, blood sugar regulating smoothie, plant-based smoothie. There's probably gonna be a little left over here. I fill it up right to the top. A couple of these larger mason jar lids, and I put one in the freezer and one in the fridge. So the one in the fridge I'm going to eat later on in the day. The one in the freezer, I give it about 10 minutes, then I take all of my supplements that need to be taken with food while I'm drinking this smoothie, and I'm just like chilling out, answering emails. So thank you so much for joining. I hope that you guys like it, and if you make it, please tag me, Be Well With Hope, on Instagram. Send me photos, I want to see. If you like this video and you dig in my videos in general, please subscribe. It would just help me to know that you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Thanks so much, guys. See you soon.